My name is Andy Plant. I'm the head of a small education team which also consists of Kerry and Amy, and the role is to basically look after the education of the children and the carers throughout the company. Supporting children, supporting carers, helping the supervising social workers with any educational matter really. That could be something as simple as the child is struggling with homework. It could be something as serious as an exclusion, perhaps a move of school. I work with the placement teams, I work with the clinicians, the therapy leads, the social workers to try and create the best possible education for the child. This takes numerous different forms. We do some training to help the social workers to be more informed when they go to meetings. The same with the carers. We do some monitoring to make sure that all of the children have had their recent PEPs, personal education plans, or EHCP reviews, education, health and care plans. It could involve attending meetings if the meeting's a little tricky and there's a bit of an issue with a local authority or something like that. It could involve going to exclusion meetings to make sure that the child is getting the best service possible and isn't excluded if it's absolutely possible for that to be the case. I go around schools and support schools with attachment and trauma training. So there's a multitude of parts to the role. I've been in the education sector now for 30 years. Started off as a primary teacher all those years ago. Went on to become a head teacher, stroke teacher at an SEN school that was just for looked after children, so I've got that experience. I then became a consultant, working for a company called, a charity called Teach First for a little while, going around helping senior leadership teams in the primary sector. And I've now been the head of education at Nexus for the last 3 years. Basically, with looked after children, government guidance is given to entitlements that they should have because they're looked after. Because in many cases, their education has not been great because of the stuff they've been through in the past. So the government supplies this, and part of my role is to make sure that the schools are aware of the entitlements and the funding is being spent in the right way. There's something called Pupil Premium Plus, which is just for looked after children in the country, and that's a sum of money given out by virtual schools, which is then used within the school or for one or two other reasons as well, just for that particular child to help them through any educational issues that they may have. There are also other things where I go in and look at behaviour policies with schools to try and make them as flexible as possible so that the child isn't just treated as a naughty child if there's a behaviour issue, because often their behaviours are a result of the trauma and attachment issues that they have. Sometimes I look at the special educational needs side of things. Sometimes if an EHCP is required, we get that process started, or I'm sometimes part of that process, just to get the best education possible for the young child. I do a little list of every year 11 who's taking GCSEs at the moment and what their intentions are going forwards. So if, for example, they're intending on going to sixth form or further education college of some sort, we make sure that the processes are all being done, the necessary funding is being sought. The same if it's apprenticeships or traineeships and they don't want to further their education as far as academia is concerned. And we even go as far as universities and helping with that kind of thing as well. If the child has now left school and they're looking for a job, we can help with the writing of CVs. I have discussions with carers about such things and job applications also. A lot of the time I'm working from home, so I work remotely. I take phone calls regularly, emails, the dozens a day, and I can answer many things via email or the phone. If that's not the case, then I can sometimes see the carers one-to-one, I can Zoom them, Teams them, whatever it may be. And it's whatever they're comfortable with really. People don't always like to ask questions when they're being trained. I do training sessions with the carers and with the staff, the team, on a regular basis. And there's a lot of people who don't like to ask those kind of questions because they're a bit reticent, a bit shy in front of lots of people. So that's where the emails, the phone calls come in handy. The training I'm particularly pleased with, and it informs them about the side of education that they may not know about. So that when they go to things like PEP meetings, they're informed and they're comfortable to attend these meetings. If that's still not the case, and it is a difficult meeting for one reason or another, I can pop along and help out using my experience over the years. I feel the big thing is about positive relationships. It is with all working arrangements. You've got to form a positive relationship with all of the agencies who are responsible for that particular child. That could be local authority social work teams, it could be education psychologists, virtual schools, our own supervising social workers, teachers, head teachers, whoever it might be. So I try to get out face to face as much as possible, but it's obviously a big area, so it's not always possible to do things face to face. But that helps to build the relationships. It helps to get your name known with the local authorities so that when I need a contact, there is somebody there to contact at all times. I'd like to think that over the last few years, those relationships have been built and they're still being built, and that all of the schools, the local authorities, the virtual schools know that we are here to support them whenever it's possible. Trauma and attachment difficulties with looked after children are commonplace. Because of what they've been through in their lives, it affects them greatly when it comes to learning, when it comes to school, when it comes to mixing with peers, relating to authority, whatever it might be. It's all about the teachers concerned, the professionals, the children, building a trusting relationship with that particular child. It's all about trusting relationship. Once they've got that, then everything else kind of clicks into place as far as the world of academia is concerned. I always think that each child, each looked after child, has a much smaller window of tolerance than the rest of us. If my wife upsets me, I'll poke my foot outside of the window of tolerance, but I can soon come back into it again. Whereas often with looked after children, their window of tolerance is much smaller, they leap out of it and they struggle to come back into it. So the aim of all people concerned, carers, teachers, etc., is to make that window of tolerance a little bit bigger over a period of time. One of the things I'm particularly proud of since I started at Nexus was that we started a program called the School Support Program. Now, lots of schools get a little bit of training in dealing with attachment and trauma problems, but they don't always get a lot. So I go in, based on my background, I'm no doctor, I'm no clinician here, I give it as it is from a school point of view, because I worked and looked after children for so long, and I give a little training to the staff within the school. Really pleasing recently that I went to one school, a primary school, I think it was in Nottingham, and the whole staff were there for the training. Usually it'll just be the teachers who turn up. But on this occasion, the lunchtime supervisors were there, the secretary was there, the caretaker was there, along with all of the teaching staff. Because these people play a role in that child's life as well. So they need to understand the attachment, the trauma difficulties that that child has. I'm going to use the words positive relationship again. It's all about the carers building a positive relationship with the school. Never being negative in front of the child, even though the school may have done something wrong. Always taking a positive approach as far as education is concerned. Now that could involve going to carers meetings, parents' evenings, going to music events, going to sports events, art events, whatever it might be. They have got to make sure that that child is aware of the importance of education, how it can help them develop throughout life, and it's not just 4 to 16, it's all of life, and how important it is in their journey moving forwards. I'm a strong believer that learning can take many forms. Yes, we go to school to learn how to read and write and do chemistry and PE and all of the subjects, but learning is far deeper than that. So although I get very pleased when someone gets a level 9 in their GCSEs for a particular subject, I'm equally pleased when I've helped them in some way with an anxiety issue, with some issue that they're having in school with their self-confidence, or something along those lines. Occasionally I'll get involved in the writing of EHCPs, for example, if the school don't do them, and that's equally important because it helps the child to develop over time.